ukiweka nafasi nitawasha generator. Kusema kweli wanizingua daily. Moyo wangu umekuwa mwepesi, nitamfenesi mpenzi na kuenzi. Usipokami nitadedi. Ay mama, ay mama, ay mama, ay mama. Asika pari sechete. Ay mama, ay mama, ay mama, ay mama. Asika pari sechete. Nasema wo 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 lo lo ya ye, wo lo lo ya ye. Asika pari sechete. Natini wo ni wo lo lo ya ye, wo lo lo ya ye. Asika pari sechete. Baby, kwangu you're my honey. Na kuimbia hii wimbo my baby kutoka moyoni. You drive me crazy, I miss you daily. Hey, 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 kwa madeni takuseti. You are the love of my life. Na muhasi wanje na kumbora na huyanza. You are the love of my life. Na muhasi wanje na kumbora na huyanza. Ay mama, ay mama, ay mama, ay mama. Asika pari sechete. Ay mama, ay mama, ay mama, ay mama. Asika pari sechete. Nasema wo 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 lo lo ya ye, wo lo lo ya ye. Asika pari sechete. Natini wo ni wo lo lo ya ye, wo lo lo ya ye. Asika pari sechete. Baby, baby, isanda gera parotanda ketowia. Lando baby, when I see your face, mikambuta. Sunshine to my heart, umia werowi, usiemtunya. Ay mama, ay mama, ay mama, ay mama. Asika pari sechete. Nasema wo 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 lo lo ya ye, wo lo lo ya ye. Asika pari sechete. Natini wo ni wo lo lo ya ye, wo lo lo ya ye. Asika pari sechete.
In my heart, I confess, nimefuta all the rest. For my low love, I can't replace. Juu hata mimi msapere, nikwedete wewe, 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 wewe. Oh, heri majabe. Juu hata mimi msapere, nikwedete wewe, 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 wewe. Oh, heri majabe.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Pawa Radio.
Umenitesa netusheka, roho imezoea, ukitoka ninajua leo sitatulia. Kile nafikiria huna idea, Yelling apitia, I know you know. I watch you put on makeup, standing by the mirror. Your vibration is familiar. Yeah, it's a trigger. Nakumbuka ukiweza kunifurahia. I wish you would stay, but I know you moved on. Nakujua tena sana, nikikuona najua kile unawaza. And you know, naeza jua ukidanganya. So I find it so confusing when you lie, love. It gets so lonely. Usiku tanipata na mawazo. You say you love me, but najua uliniachanga kitambo. Najua uliniachanga kitambo. Oh. Uliniachanga kitambo. Nimezeeka, so sitakasirika. Nimeona ya dunia, sitalipishia. Tenda utatendwa, kwanza naona yapenda. Binadamu akiumia, bado atarudia. Nakujua tena sana, nikikuona najua kile unawaza. And you know, naeza jua ukidanganya. So I find it so confusing when you lie, love. It gets so lonely. Usiku tanipata na mawazo. You say you love me, but najua uliniachanga kitambo. Najua uliniachanga kitambo. Oh. Najua uliniachanga kitambo. Oh. It gets so lonely. Usiku tanipata na mawazo. You say you love me, but najua uliniachanga kitambo. Najua ushamua misi wako.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
All right, welcome to the Pawa Morning Drive show. My name is Wanyoike. I am your host. It is the 21st of May. The year is still 2025. Welcoming you, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, to Kenya's biggest conversation, if we do say so ourselves. This is Power Radio, where you tune in and power up. Again, my name is Wanyoike. And let me know. It's hump day. How are you feeling? A lot has been happening. We are warring between Kenya and Tanzania. That drama, we will get a little bit into it after that. But let me just give you a lowdown of what to expect on today's show. Of course, we start off with the day's traffic updates within the Nairobi environs and its outskirts. And then we get into discussing what has been making news headlines again. As I've just mentioned, Tanzania and Kenya, we are kind of beefing right now. A lot to be said about that conversation as well. And a crackdown of the universal healthcare, workers, nurses are underpaid. We shall also get to talk about some of these issues on our day's news updates. But first, let's get into traffic updates, right? And we start off with, let me just see. what is happening along Thika Road. Thika Road, kama kawaida, traffic starts, the madness starts all the way from KCA University as you go towards town. Same situation also happening along Kiambu Road, kumeshikana bumper to bumper. I can also see that Limuru Road is looking quite busy this morning. That stretch that goes from the village market into just as you go towards the Karura Forest as well. A little bit of a snarl up. It's slowly moving, so nothing much to complain about on that end as well. A brief look at Peponi Road, and yes, it's also looking quite busy. The Nairobi Curio area into a little bit of the traffic goes all the way down towards the Maple Bear Nursery Preschool there as you spill over towards Westlands as well. Same situation also happening along Lower Kabete Road as well. The traffic today starts at the Danish Refugee Council and then spills over all the way towards Silver Springs Hospital. I can also see that Wanyoike Red Hill Road is looking very busy, especially as you go towards Wanyoike Way, and then the spillover happens on the other side along James Gishuru Road. Absolute madness this morning, and actually both ways into and out of Wanyoike Way as well. Right. Let's go to Wanyoike Way actually, now that we are there. The spillover happens just as you move towards the ABC place, and then it goes all the way towards the Westlands Mall area, but soon clears out after that. All right, let me see what's happening along Ngong Road this morning. Nothing much to complain about actually. Usually the snarl up starts from the Junction Mall, but for today, traffic is just starting at Prestige Plaza as you go into town as well. A little bit of a spill over also towards Valley Road, but it surely is moving. Nothing much to complain about. All right, let's see what's happening along Langata Road from Huru Gardens all the way down towards Timol. A little bit of a snarl up. It usually is painted red, but today I can see that things are not as busy. And then just a little bit of a snarl up there from Timol as you go towards Strathmore. That's should be Raila Odinga Road. Yes, but nothing much to complain about. It's definitely slowly and moving as well. All right, on the other side of town, let's see what's happening along Mombasa Road. And yes, the traffic starts at the Panari Hotel and it goes all the way down towards the Nairobi West Hospital areas and spills over towards Bunyala Road. So it's absolute madness on that area. I will not lie a bit as well. Lusaka Road is looking busy, not busy this morning. Actually, nothing much happening on Lusaka Road. Jogoo Road, from Makadara inbound towards town, madness, Kamakawa. So you guys should be out of the woods in no time. Let me see what's happening along Embakasi. Of course, that whole area of Feather Estate as you go towards the Cabanas bus stop is also quite busy. The Eastern Bypass also, madness, absolute madness as you go into town as well. Right, in case I have not mentioned where you are and there could be traffic or any incidents that you spot, kindly let us know. Remember, you can get in touch with us on our social media handles. We are Pawa Radio. You can at me as well on the Wanyoike on X and also Wanjiko Wanyoike on Instagram in case of anything that you want us to know as well. But for now, let me take a quick breather, some music, then we get back and talk about the drama that has been ensuing in between the 254 and the 255. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. We'll be right back to discuss this and so much more. This is Pawa Radio.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Pawa Radio.
Wonfala mgani ane kama mngari kwa list juu ya Ferrari, yeah. Ana degree au ni journalist, tu journalist. Nasikia wakiuliza ule boy wetu alienda wapi, amepotea kazi, ile mbegu watu walipanda na kanyari, yeah. na nasikia inasemekana hati rap zangu kamna mkazo na ila utamu ya rege mama. Maudinari wananikubali na hata hati hawezi kana. Kwa wale upenda sauti yangu na iko wale usengenyana. Mama kijana wako amepotea, ni masikio tu yeye anatoboa huku ndugu zake wakiendelea. Mwenyezi pekee anaweza muokoa kimaisha amelegea, ingawa hatuoni akitoboa bado twazidi kumwombea. Amina. Sina njana jua mpishi, sijaifanya kazi ya ofisi, sijailala kasi jadishi, sijarap kitu katoka o6 hivi. Trust me, siezi rasmi, miata niache mziki miaka 50, nikirudi bado na crash nyenye niko fast me. Ndani ya party na nguo rasmi, tumepigwa pasi hapo katikati, napiga mic check juu niko party, na niko night shift, niko busy, sikuwa najificha. Clearly you rappers missed your teacher, vitu mnaandika zinachoma picha, nkiwishingi hata kuwafundisha sauti nasikiani. Don't waste your time wishing you're too proud, my baby. Too proud to wish they had an easy way out. Let times get tough so they remember you're a blessing. When life is good they won't forget to say ooh, 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 ooh. Yeah. Hey, yeah. Naulizwa mbona niliacha mziki ati nilikuwa mkali juu ya mic na namisiwa na mashabiki. Niliacha game mapema hata kabla refa hajapiga firimbi. Bila kwa heri ati walistukia tu kuna klepto moja imbi. Samahani nimepotea, shukrani kwa wale wamenifikiria. Hizo miaka zote nimekuwa missing, lakini kwa kitu hamjaniambia. Kani ningebaki bado ungekuwa nataki ya kusikia nikiwaimbia. Ama baisa ingekuwa mnanifanya vile mnafanya mapioneer. Story kwa media ati nimechapa niko juu ya madawa na hangaika. Shoni yote mali mbada hebu kama katendraizie mnaita. It's not that serious, rap ni hobby. Bila mziki bado na manga, ingekuwa karia singekuwa nalia kusikia ati Nairobi. Ambia ni ukama sijifeel sana, we ni mgeni sikia kwanza tunakupenda. Ukikakaa tutachoka na wewe, hivyo ndo kuenda. Mimi ule mgeni alikaa siku mbili tu, sikukaa siku mingi nikuachie nafasi ya kuchoka na mimi. So now you know Shinsky. So now you know beat ya Kega. So now you know.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
Don't. Oh, lo, 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 lo. Wavy. Don't just please you. The more higher you wanna go, this shit is a cycle. This shit you can't fight, no. I've been here before when I bought my first bicycle. I thought I was fine, no. Still I bought a motorcycle. Material things just to ease my pain. Falling for the scheme all over again. Thought it was a car, thought it was a plane. But without you it's not the same. Material things just to ease my pain. Falling for the scheme all over again. Thought it was a car, thought it was a plane. But without you it's not the same. Oh lo lo lo, oh lo lo lo. Been thinking there's something missing, but it's you I'm missing. Oh lo 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 lo, oh lo lo lo. Been thinking there's something missing, but it's you I'm missing. Oh lo. Mamba metolewa majini, akatupiliwa vumbini. Hivi sasa nifanye nini? Penzi la kondo na dhamini. Ningekuwa mialadini, ningemwita kujijini, akulete kwangu habibi. Hadithi njoo, did you know? Money comes and goes, full of highs and lows. not a home. Olo, I need you close. Olo, 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 olo. Been thinking there's something missing, but it's you I'm missing. Olo, 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 olo. Been thinking there's something missing, but it's you I'm missing. Material things just to ease my pain, falling for the scheme all over again. Thought it was a car, thought it was a plane. Got it all, but it's still the same. Material things just to ease my pain, falling for the scheme all over again. Thought it was a car, thought it was a plane. Got it all, but it's still the same. Oh, lo, lo, lo. Oh, lo, lo, lo. Been thinking there's something missing, but it's you I'm missing. Oh, lo, 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 lo. Oh, lo, lo, lo. Been thinking there's something missing, but it's you I'm missing. Oh, lo.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Our radio.
California vitu nzuri tunaendelea mbele. Hakuna cha huzuni hapa, furani tele. Kwa wale wamesahau mziki yangu bado ni genge. Kwa wale wanatudharau tafadhali msifanye nicheke. Sitadanganya jamani, nimerudi studio leo na nasikia poa. Na najua mnapenda kusikia sauti yangu, kwa hivyo ngoma poa tu ndo tazidi kutoa. Unatulia nini bana, amka tuzitoke. Unapanguza nini bana, wacha jasho imwagike kote. Hata kama kuna ukame tunajituliza na maji baridi. Clemo raundi ameniambia nokute na ngoma mbili mbili. Moral, wachi wabambe na mjipandishe juu ka bendera na mwimbe ngoma ka national anthem.
Nataka tu heshima yako, nataka tu furaha yako, ndio ujue mahali bidii yangu imetoka. Nataka tu heshima yako, nataka tu furaha yako, ndio ujue mahali bidii yangu imetoka.
Anacho watu wengi sana wakule raundini, atieni pia mi ninone. Safari yangu ngepeleka mbio lakini mama kwenda pole pole. Usifikiri nimechoka, niko na nguvu kazi ile ngombe nyona mtaani. Sitachoka kutafuta majani, sitachoka kuendelea na safari. Wacha mguu zangu zitembee, wasanii wote wa nguvu wa pepe. Kimaisha na kila kitu wanafanya ni bidii na utafika pale unataka. Hata nikigonga so bado mziki zangu sitaacha kusambaza. Nimeamka chali yangu na sioni tena ka chalala. Weka mattress kando tunaenda kazi, weka stress kando mambo kwe safi. Moral watu wangare, moral watu watambe. Na mjipandishe juu ka bendera na mwimbe ngoma ka national anthem.
Nataka tu heshima yako, nataka tu furaha yako, ndio ujue mahali bidii yangu imetoka. Nataka tu heshima yako, nataka tu furaha yako, ndio ujue mahali bidii yangu imetoka.
Bidii yangu imelazimisha watu wengi sana waruke. Asali bado nawapatia, tiongeza sukari utamu isishuke. Nikipanda tafana vile roho yangu inataka. Sitapotea tena nikiona wengine wakitukata. Pilipili ni aje sikuja nisaidie kwa kamata, lakini sijui itakuaje tukiwa roga sana. Sijui atajisaidiaje tukiwa bonda sana. Tuwafundisha kupumzisha nyundo na bado weze kuflex mkono vizuri. Kuingia gym kupanua kifua kiasi na kupumua vizuri.
Nataka tu heshima yako, nataka tu furaha yako, ndio ujue mahali bidii yangu imetoka. Nataka tu heshima yako, nataka tu furaha yako, ndio ujue mahali bidii yangu imetoka. Nataka tu heshima yako, nataka tu furaha yako, ndio ujue mahali bidii yangu imetoka. Nataka tu heshima yako.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
All right, welcome back. That is Bidi Yangu by Juliani there. It's playing right here. Oh, Jua Kali. Did I say Juliani? I don't know. I'm sorry. It's Jua Kali Bidi Yangu playing right here on Power Radio, where you tune in and power up. My name is Wanyoike. I'm your host, and you are tuning into the Pawa Morning Drive show. Right, let's just jump right into our day's news and some of the highlights that has been happening. Of course, a lot has been happening from the raid of Natembeya, that is the US in Trans Nzoia governor as well. There's so much happening in this country. But before we do that, Kenya and Tanzania is at war. And I want us to listen into a clip here, and then we come back and discuss some of the contexts that we contextualize whatever we will hear. So let's listen in and we come back and discuss it.
Don't test us, please. You Kenyans, we respect you, we love you, but when you test us, when you open your mouth, it's hard for us to handle it. It's hard for us to handle it. If you think Tanzania ni jalala, unaweza ukaongea chochote, you are wrong. If you think you are clever, you can solve your own problem. Madam Martha Karua, you guys, you have your problems with Gen Z. Why don't you sit down and solve your own problem if you are clever? Why? Everyone, I'm coming to Tanzania to watch what? Oh, no. Mind your own business, please. Mind your own business. We have our own business. Sisi, tunajua jinsi gani ya kuhandle. Blah, 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 blah. This last warning. Don't ever mention our president there. Don't ever, and don't test us. We know how to handle our problem. If you touch us, you Kenyans, you'll be in bad situation. Tunao watu wenu hapa, they are beggars there at Kariako. Tunao watu wenu hapa, wapo hapo Mburahati, they are wanaomba. Lakini we handle them like brothers. Sasa don't test us. Msifanye tuwarudishe. Msifanye tuwafate tuwasengenye. Don't ever respect. Put some respect to our government. Put some respect to our country. This is Tanzania. We know how to handle our stuff. Baba wa taifa alitengenezea misingi ya kusolve matatizo yetu sisi wenyewe. We know how to handle our problems. Ulishasikia siku Tanzania tumerushana mabomu? Ulishasikia siku Tanzania tumeuana? Because we know how to handle our problem.
All right. Yes. That is a very passionate sentiments there by Mr. Mwijaku. That is his name, but his actual name is Mwemba Barton, but popularly known as Mwijaku. And he is a media personality from Tanzania. And you can hear his very passionate sentiments there towards Kenyans. And of course, this is coming against the backdrop of what just happened last weekend when Martha Karua, accompanied by Lynn Ngugi also, who had gone for the listening of Tundu Lissu's court case. Tundu Lissu is an activist in Tanzania, and of course they were detained. We also how that went down, and so from that conversation as well, the president Mama Suluhu came out and said that Kenyans need to stay out of their country's business. That we need to, make sure that we are staying away from what exactly is happening in their country, because we also have a lot of a lot of things, a lot of problems and challenges that we need to face here in-house. And so, yeah, she called upon Kenyans. And it was a very passionate speech as well, I think. I don't know whether we'll have time to play it. But in the speech, she essentially captured the fact that, she said things like, musikuja kutuharibia inchi, mumeshindwa kusuluhisha mambo yenyu huko Kenya, and now you want to come and bring your shenanigans or your problems here in Kenya. Here in Tanzania. And so, yeah, it was a call. It was a call against the, I guess, what they called it, political interference from Kenyans. But, when we look at what the world is looking like, and when we look at the the trends that are happening within the different regions of the world right now. I don't think that this is something that we need to be focusing on right now. Granted, first of all, it's very misguided to say that we are interfering. Kenya, just as Tanzania, just as Uganda and other East African countries, we are part of an East African community. It is within the right of Martha Karua as a supporter of Mr. Tundu Lissu to just go in and listen into a court hearing. I don't think that they were out of their right. I don't think they were doing it out of, any malice or sort of wanting to interfere. Of course, that is the narrative that the political class for the longest time, and will always continue seeing the political class trying to kind of exploit a narrative to kind of protect their power. And so my worry with this is, this, of course, people now, the conversations that have been going on social media is that, we are witnessing the rise of dictatorship in Africa, and it is coming from the most bizarre, sources, like places that you would not think would come. We would be grappling with the issue of, control and political, I would say, over assertion, of the political class. We are starting to see this, and it's even sadder and quite embarrassing that it spills over to quote unquote bigger regulatory bodies, because the East African community should be able to control and protect the interests of the larger community, because it's not just one country or the other country amassing the power, or it's not just one country that is in the executive that plays the executive role over these other nations as well. And so when we see the I would call the retrogression or the oppression of democracy or this kind of freedoms being spilling over to international bodies, multinational bodies such as the East African community, then now that we have a thing to worry about. And I think it's a call for each and every one of us to be able to step up and, kind of demand for the transparency and the accountability that we put these institutions towards. So yes, well, I understand where Mwijaku is coming from. Of course, he's going to stand with his nation. He's going to, and you also never know when people speak. Or on whose behalf are they speaking, right? There's such a thing as that. And you could tell that he's not necessarily speaking from his own accord. This is definitely, it was giving somebody who has been paid to represent now, alleged. This, I could be wrong, but this is just me, my opinion, trying to make sense of what that statement was looking like. So, but I also found it very unnecessary, to bring up things like, you are Kenyans are wametujazia huku masoko kwetu Kariokoo, mnataka tuwafukuze. And I'm like, okay, so you see, one problem also is always reactionary and leads us to the other problem, because when we look at this political, I would say, us butting heads, it spills over, of course, to the economic, that political butting heads is also going to ensure that we have a situation like this where we are where it's spilling over to becoming an economical problem. And so what do you mean that you're going to chase Kenyans from Kariokoo? I mean, we also have Tanzanians doing trade here, and nobody necessarily cares, as long as, to be honest, I think that the East African community should have at least more power, and not even in the sense of just power vested by the political class, but I think even for the people socially, we should be able to have free trade and move around each other. So it's very unnecessary in the same Africa where we are looking at I remember last week there was a forum of CEOs in Abidjan that was happening, and many presidents, Paul Kagame of Rwanda, we also had the president of Mauritania, we also had Cyril Ramaphosa of South Africa, and most of the conversations that were being held on that panel discussion was that we need to start fostering more inclusion and more relationship and partnership building across the African continent. And so when we have heads of the state from one region talking about this intra partnerships, whether it's political, whether it's democratic, whether it's economical, then 1 week down the line we start seeing a clashing of heads and a political discourse that is taking a completely different turn. There becomes we need to start reassessing and asking ourselves questions that how are we going to ensure that we are moving forward? How are we going to ensure that that whatever conversations are happening in echo chambers, and I'm sorry, they always happen in echo chambers, but how do we ensure that they spill over to this other side, of course? So that's it's a bad look. And then ultimately we've seen from that conversation the X accounts, or rather like Twitter just went down out of nowhere. We are still getting to hear information about what exactly happened. Then we also had the police service official account being hacked. People are alleging that Kenyans had to do with that. Then this is for Tanzania. So you see, like we cannot afford to be like these warring countries, uko in the Europes and in the European countries, where it becomes quite hefty, and we don't even have even if it was to come down to that, we do not have the muscle, not even financially, not even the social muscle to be able to recover from wars again. So please, it's to be honest, we need to just please let's can we see eye to eye? I don't think we are past the seeing each other as enemies. At this point, we should be partners, equal partners, with the interest of, yes, of course, our local countries at heart, but also ensuring that we are working progressively, collaboratively for the betterment of these other nations as well. All right, so that's much about it. Let me cruise quickly through the dailies today. And of course, the Standard newspaper, the story that is leading is Ruto's seal grab. A quietly passed law transferring the public seal, a symbol of government authority, from the Attorney General's office to the President's chief of staff may have troubling implications. Legal experts now fear that giving the president unchecked control over such a powerful instrument could enable deals bypassing the Attorney General and other key institutions, undermining the national principle of power sharing among branches of government. It's a story that continues on page 4. So if you want to get yourself that story, you can grab your copy of the Standard and read that for yourself. Then 2027 general election at stake. IEBC wants a story on page 6 of the Standard newspaper. All right, for the Business Daily, the top stories are Equity sacks workers over suspect accounts M-Pesa. So there has been some fraud going on. Equity Group CEO James Mwangi was actually forced to fire a very good number of people that were laid off. And this was coming out because there was an investigation about fraudulent practices that was happening. Of course, an inside job. So a story that is imewekelewa kiunaga ubaga katika page 2 of the Business Daily. And then we also have a story here about M-Pesa payment from contractor cited in Natembeya graft case. Treasury to amend budget for a third time on revenue shortfall. Stanbic season 1 billion assets from defaulters. And lastly, Kenya Power cleared to buy 1.2 billion transformers in tender row. Right. And last but not least, we also have citations of the main stories of the Daily Nation. Nurses no one wants, a story that they put their lives on the line to help patients in isolation wards likened to death chambers during COVID-19 pandemic in 2020. 5 years later, the medics are enduring months without pay, the life of penury plunging some into depression and suicide. Why have authorities been so mean to them? All right. And it plasters a picture of some of these nurses and continues on, that story continues on page 2, 3, and 4, just looking at the continuous debacle that our universal healthcare is as well. Yesterday, we also saw the president launching some affordable housing units in Mukuru. That's a story also that has been highlighted. Corruption case, Natembeya freed but barred from county office, a story on page 12 of the Daily Nation. So a lot of stories there happening. So you can grab your copy of the dailies and read on that as well. But that leads us to the end of our daily news updates. When we get back, my guests are already in studio. We'll be speaking to Emma Oginga, programs lead at the Media Lawyers Association of Kenya. We also have the president of the association, Mr. Ibrahim Oduor, and we shall be looking at media law in Kenya, assessing where we are at and what are some of the gains that we need to put in place to ensure that the media law in Kenya is at the level within which it needs to be. So this is a conversation that you definitely do not want to miss out on. Let's take a quick breather. I'll be right back. We get into that discussion. Start sending in your questions. The hashtag to use is hashtag Pawa Morning Drive. And you can also at us across all social media. Power Radio is our handle. We'll be right back. See you after this.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
Real time music. South C, South B, 111, 23, West D, can't get me, nah, don't need, nah, manani, baby. Ain't no city like my city, oh, no, no, no. Nairobi, they can do it like we do it in the 254.
Flow, we on a wave, kamix za dema kufu vila na bounce kwa hit track, ukipenda hala chuchu, jiwe, mayoyo, hey, we got the nunu, I'm in love with my city, boss, I'm going kuku, hey, hini ya madem wale ukulenga mtani, mkikutana Nairobi, wana wave kwa mbali, luku ni ya wazi, utadhani Tamford, saya kinenge, shika mavanga Sanford, hey, niko idha mapararira kanganya, big up my hustlers, wanaotamak, my foreigners, wale, makwa wamehama, machoko shwale jiji, kwa pia ni mama, I'm keeping it real, keeping it local, I'm so raw, original flow though, and Nairobi, ay, it's magic when I'm on the mic, mzeya, ay,
ain't no city like my city, oh, no, 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 Nairobi, they can do it like we do it in the 254, Nairobi, my hustler, my damn super,
hey.
Now I'm riding to Buru Buru, I love my city, oh yes I do,
Nairobi,
my body, kileleshwa, embakase, langata, dagorete, kibera, nakayole, dandora, Nairobi, tukorada, kauna bifa, hopni abama, bama hitu, ninatuleta pamoja, chama, tupate mitatu nazama, ama, eo, ni kama, tumewateko Kampala na Jadama, enai, tunaweza Robi, ai, tunatesa, ata mayu, wako yama, ain't no city like my city, oh, no, 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 Nairobi, they can do it like we do it in the 254, Nairobi, my hustler, my damn super,
hey.
Now I'm riding to Buru Buru, I love my city, oh yes I do, Nairobi, my hustler, my damn super,
hey.
Now I'm riding to Buru Buru, I love my city, oh yes I do,
Nairobi, tumelokit kibobo, kadunga mosquito, sio shockings bobo, hey, lokit kibobo,
na,
the Sharky Drinks Bobo.
Your kind of music, all day, all night, right here on your only station, Pawa Radio.
It's so hard to leave. Sing me a song when I am gone from you. It's so hard to leave. Sing me a song when I am gone from you. I won't be gone for long. Sing me a song when I am far from you. I won't be gone for long. Sing me a song when I am far from you, far from you.
When all the lights fade and there's nowhere in the world to go, I know I would rather stay, but then again I'm unsure. Simpler times have all but faded, but I can't stay all the same. Simpler times have all but faded, but I can't stay all the same. Mama's wailing, Mongo's wailing from home. Mama's wailing, don't go away 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 from me. Mama's wailing, don't go away from me. Mama's wailing, begging you to stay. The class gathered by the road. Nowhere in the world's the same. You're better off staying home. Simpler times have all but faded. I can't stay all the same. Simpler times have all but faded. I can't stay all the same. Simpler times have all but faded. I can't stay all the same. Simpler times have all but faded. I can't stay all the same.
From you, it's so hard to leave. Sing me a song when I am gone from you. I won't be gone for long. Sing me a song when I am far from you. I won't be gone for long. Sing me a song when I am far from you, far from you.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
All right, welcome back. That is East African Wave with their song Dala, and it's playing right here on Power Radio. This is the Power Morning Drive Show. My name is Anne Wanyoike, and you can get in touch with us on our social media handles. We are at Power Radio across, name it, Twitter. We are also on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, as well as on our website, www.power254.org/Power Radio. You can also find us on our YouTube channel. If you've not yet subscribed, kindly go out, search PAWA, that's Power Radio. Subscribe, hit on that notification bell so that whenever we go live, you will be the first to know. And as promised, I have my guests already in studio. We shall be looking in depth today, about the media, the Media Lawyers Association, but more so, what is the state of media law? There's definitely a nexus point between media and law, and we shall be assessing the gaps, the gains, what we need to do, the achievements, and yada, yada, yada. And I have the pleasure of having the president of the association as well as the programs lead at the Media Lawyers Association of Kenya with me in studio, and I will kindly allow them to introduce themselves, and then we can get right into our conversations. We can start, they say ladies first, so let's start with you.
Hello. My name is Emma Oginga. I am a lawyer by profession. I work with Media Lawyers Association as the programs director. Recently, I took up an interest in media law, matters social media, matters journalism, and that is what we do at Media Lawyers Association of Kenya, ensuring that the media space is properly regulated and that the journalists, whistleblowers, and those people that operate on the different social media platforms, or let me say the traditional kind of media, are properly catered for. So at Media Lawyers Association, we ensure that we protect the interests of the journalists, particularly at some point content creators who have found themselves on the wrong side of the law.
Right.
Yes, and ensuring that we advocate for that they are heard, and that at the end of the day, justice is served to both.
Awesome. Yes, and the gentleman on my far left. Yeah.
Thanks so much, Annie. My name is Ibrahim Oduor, advocate of the High Court of Kenya, and by the grace of God, the president of the Media Law Association. I think by way of introduction, that would be it. I would talk more about the association, what we do, why Media Lawyers Association, and really it's my pleasure to be here to discuss the state of media law in Kenya, especially in light of so many things that are happening.
Yeah. And I think it's a great place to start. Thank you so much, guys, for coming on. Maybe we can just start with that. Why was the Media Lawyers Association formed?
Yeah, so we are now just about 3 years old. That is post-formal registration. Of course, we have been around for a bit of time. We started as a network of lawyers who had an interest in issues of freedom of expression and freedom of the media and access to information. Those constitutional guarantees that are so important to protection of democracy. And so at some point, we felt that it would be important that we have got a formal framework within which to operate so that we are able to coordinate much better. And that then was the brainchild behind now foundation of the organization as an association. So Media Lawyers Association essentially therefore brings together lawyers and legal practitioners, advocates of the High Court. And it's important to clarify that when we talk about lawyers and legal practitioners, we mean across the board.
Okay.
Lawyers who are in practice, those who are in academia, those who are on the bench, and those who are in civil society, those who are in-house. And so we have got a mix of everybody who's got a legal interest, and including people who not necessarily haven't studied law but have done issues of human rights, but more specifically with a focus on the right to freedom of expression, the right to freedom of information, the right to media freedom, which is a very, very important and fundamental right within our constitutional framework. And of course, it comes also with the right of access to information. So what we do then at Media Lawyers Association is to do research around the state of media law. We do advocacy to protect media freedom and freedom of association. We are constantly monitoring what is the environment in terms of what is just the climate within which media practice is being done, whether there is compliance with the law, whether these rights are being protected, whether they are being advanced. We engage in courtroom advocacy. We represent journalists and media practitioners in court. Currently, probably we'll discuss it much further when we are going on. There are a number of cases in which we are assisting journalists. We are also participating in cases that concern media freedom and freedom of association, so that if there is a case in court that we feel touches on a question of media freedom, whose outcome then would affect the state of media freedom, then we intervene in that case, either as interested parties or as amicus curiae, that is friends of the court, or as direct litigants, petitioners, or respondents. So, and we are big on that, courtroom action, because ultimately, when we are in law school, we are told it really is the general principle that the law is what the judges say they are. So we aim to robustly appear before court and help the court in interpreting the law in a way that entrenches media freedom and freedom of expression. And also, we participate in legal reforms. We do memorandums by either directly as an association or by assisting organizations that are participating in legal reforms. And so we aim to, at all times, advance those principles and make suggestions that would make the legal environment for media practice become much better and more free. And now, in the context of emerging technologies, you find that there is a lot of work to be done there. And so we are combining research and advocacy and participation in legal reforms to make sure that there is that advancement. So there is a lot that we do around just making sure that media law is protected, is advanced, and more importantly, that we align with the constitution of these states and Article 33, Article 34, Article 35, and also the international standards and principles under the International Convention on Civil and Political Rights.
Right.
Yeah, so in a nutshell, that would be it.
Right.
Yeah.
Emma, Ibrahim mentioned about the climate that we are currently in, assessing the environment of whatever is happening within the space of media law. And, it cannot get lost on us. Let's even start from the Gen Z protests in Kenya. What led after that was a lot of crackdown and a crackdown on internet. We also remember that Safaricom, somehow, some dolphins allegedly ate cables in the ocean, and we were not able to access internet for some time. We also had the arrest of some of the very eminent figures that were helping with the dissemination of this information. We remember Mike Munyiri being one of them during the anti-finance bill as well. Fast forward to this this moment that we are in, we have just seen Tanzania shutting down its X account, and a lot that is happening within the climate of just how the dissemination of information is done in our time. So with all those factors in consideration, how then do we move forward? What does this moment mean for the work that you do at the association, and how do we move past this? Because I do think that we should not even be having conversations like this, to be honest.
First of all, we have to recognize that freedom of expression is one of the rights that are very fundamental for any democratic society to operate effectively. And in line of what is happening, we could see that as a country, we had made various steps ahead, and we thought that we were doing very well when it came to freedom of expression, freedom of the media, and allowing different people to just engage on the media space.
Right.
But what we are seeing currently, in light of what happened in June last year, and every other thing that has accompanied those events, we can see that we have made like 10 steps backwards, and we are still retrogressing. I'd use the word that we are going backwards from where we have been. When it comes to legal reforms, I'd say that this country has one of the most powerful legal frameworks, being the Constitution. The Constitution guarantees the freedom of expression, but then we have to acknowledge the fact that freedom of expression is not absolute. And that is something that people need to understand.
What do you mean by the freedom of expression is not absolute in layman's terms?
In layman's term, freedom of expression does not just operate without any limitation. It has certain parameters that you cannot cross when it comes to freedom of expression. For example, when it comes to hate speech, that has been clearly prohibited in the Constitution. When it comes to incitement to violence and such, those ones are lines that you cannot cross. As much as you want to express yourself, you have to respect other people also. But at the same time, we have to acknowledge that the parameters that have been set in the Constitution for limitation, when it comes to the statutes that actually operationalize the article of the Constitution for freedom of expression, it is not very clear what hate speech is.
Okay.
It is not very clear what incitement to violence is. And these are the gaps that are being exploited by the elite, by the political elite, to suppress the freedom of expression. What is happening in Kenya is very, very unfortunate, because I feel like we should be in a space whereby people are allowed to critique, because criticism is what builds nations. And in East Africa at large, it's like the political elite feel threatened by people coming forth to speak on what is not right in the political context. Let's see example of what happened during the Gen Z protest.
Right.
Young people came to voice out their concerns in a very peaceful manner. But at the same time, the fact that that was covered, the fact that that got out there, and many people were able to witness what was happening on the street, that posed a threat to the government, to the political elite, and it attracted repercussions on the innocent young people. Yes, because when people protest, when people express themselves through public participation, it should not be viewed as a way of attacking the government. This is just a way of the young people coming forth to express themselves. Let's now talk in the context of journalists.
Right.
Those people who are in the media space. Journalists like any other person, this would be my take. First, before their profession, they're human beings. Yes. And then when they are on the streets, they come to do what? To do their work, which is to do what? To ensure that access to information is a right that is everyone can reach. Yes. What is happening on the street is aired. Yeah. They capture that. But if they are viewed as a threat, then it goes to the core of affecting the freedom of expression, the freedom of the media, and access to information. These three rights, they operate together. Yes. And when one of them is under threat, it gives a negative impact on the remaining two. Yes. So where we are right now, we could do better as a country. We could do better as a people in embracing social media, regulating what we can, and understanding the context, because we are in a space where technology has really advanced. Technology is taking, it's at the forefront of freedom of expression. People express themselves through X. People express themselves on Facebook platforms. And at that point, when, let's say someone has said something, they are exercising their right to freedom of expression, which is okay. But then the question is, at what point should we curtail this right? At what point should we say that so-and-so has gone overboard? Yeah. So as a country, we need to ask ourselves when we say someone has infringed on another's right when it comes to freedom of expression. Because at the same time, we have to acknowledge that on these social media platforms, they are not 100% of the time used as they ought to be. Yes, there are individual persons that take advantage of the fact that they can freely express themselves.
Right.
And when it goes to an extent of affecting your neighbor, then at that point we will see that you are on the wrong. But now the question is, what really is hate speech? What really is incitement to violence? Like when I post something, what really indicates that I have gone overboard? Yes, we have legal parameters. We have laws that allow us, that regulate social media, but they are not that clear. And this is a loophole that I feel like is being exploited very much by the political elite, because once you find yourself on the wrong and they invoke that particular provision, you are done for.
Right. And you did mention also about technology, and I'm very curious to know, how does technology complicate or advance, if at all it advances, the work that you do with media law? I mean, we are in the crunch time of artificial intelligence. We are seeing the rise of deepfakes, for example. You know, that I think there was some deepfake of some guy, what is his name? The PS of foreign affairs some while back. He put out an image of a deepfake talking about how Kenyan democracy is being celebrated outside, and of course there was a lot of uproar. So I wonder, has technology been a blessing or a cursing or a curse for the work that you do at media law?
What I can say when it comes to technology and freedom of expression, we've got to look at it in 3 ways.
Okay.
One, you want to look at technology as a tool of expression. Both the rise of social media by itself, also the use of artificial intelligence tools within that space, and of course, the general communication infrastructure.
Yeah.
The telecommunication infrastructure.
Right.
All that, you look at it as a tool of communication. And like every other phenomenon, that is a blessing, there could be, certain access of abuse that can never be ruled out, and that's why it then underscores what Emma was saying. that freedom of expression is not an absolute right. It is a limited right, both under the Constitution and under international law.
Right.
However, I must hasten to add that there are very clear criteria for limitation of freedom of expression, both under the Constitution and under international law. And so if anyone wants to limit freedom of expression, then they are bound by those criteria that have been agreed upon at international level and have been emphasized by our own judiciary. Now, that criteria, without at the risk of getting into legal...
A lawsuit. And you will represent yourself.
Really, at the risk of appearing to be too technical. But it's something that then, it's important.
Right.
For
this conversation.
For this conversation.
Yeah.
And for everybody, who is in the media space to know. That if the government or anybody, including non-state actors, are going to limit freedom of expression, then that limitation must be set out in the law. Now, when it comes to setting it out in the law, it's a huge conversation because setting it out in the law means that, one, it has to be written that we are limiting freedom of expression. Now, under our Constitution, I think it's under Article 24, thereabout, there is a criteria for limiting all fundamental freedoms.
What does it touch on briefly?
So what it says is that you must put it in the law, and you must set in that law that there is an intention to limit that particular fundamental that particular fundamental freedom. You must expressly state. Number two, there has to be a purpose for that limitation. You must state the very reason why you are limiting that fundamental freedom, including freedom of expression. Okay? So that if the purpose here is to prevent incitement to violence, then you must state clearly that we are prescribing this limitation to freedom of expression for the purpose of curbing incitement to violence, okay? For purposes of curbing inter-ethnic conflict.
Right.
Okay? So you must be very clear on the purpose. Now, that purpose must be legitimate. It can't just be a purpose. It really has to be a legitimate purpose within the context of a democracy. So first you have to recognize that we are a democratic, a democratic state, based on the rule of law, separation of powers, and independence of the judiciary, and all those criteria for democracy. So that purpose, it must be legitimate.
Okay.
Yeah, that so that it is acceptable. It's not enough to just state that we are limiting freedom of expression because we want to prevent people from say offending or displeasing the government or displeasing the president, or displeasing the governors. I mean, that cannot be a legitimate purpose of limiting freedom of expression, because the whole idea of freedom of expression is to call out the misdeeds of the state and the misdeeds of any other sector, within our setup that might be going, contrary to the general well-being of the people. And lastly, that limitation must be proportionate.
Okay.
It must be proportionate. By proportionate, we mean that it should not be overbearing. So that you see the perfect phrase that comes to my mind is killing a mosquito with a hammer. So that sometimes I mean, let's at the also at the risk of veering into what is in court. There is this case that is in court about some young man who posted that, I must go. He's
a hero in our eyes, but I digress.
If you are going to, arrest somebody just because of, posting in his social
parodizing, no, because it's just a parody.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if you are going, the problem that comes with that, and, at some point we are going to, it's one of the things that we are looking at. I won't go into the depths of it.
Okay.
Because it's bound to come up at some point. If we are going to arrest people because of posting satire, so one, you find that that is not a purpose that is legitimate. Because remember, under Article 33, some of the protected forms of speech are artistic expression,
right,
scientific expression, and the general freedom of expression. So those ones are protected.
Right.
That our freedom of expression includes the right to artistic expression. It also includes the right to scientific expression. So on the context of legitimacy, already that falls. On the context of proportionality, I mean, how do you accost a person who is only armed with a phone, with a gun, and it's only a phone and bundles of data with a gun. So that is how you look at the criteria for limitation. Now let's bring it to the context of technology, which is now the issue that we are looking at. So you must come and apply those principles in regulating, if you are to regulate or to limit freedom of expression in the context of technology. Okay. So first of all, whatever measures that you want to put across, of course, there is a concern about misinformation and disinformation and spread of hate speech and incitement to violence and cyberbullying and and defamation. Yeah, but there are criteria that have been developed under each and every one of those. You see, if you take, for example, the question of defamation,
right?
If I have defamed you, Annie, you have got the civil court system within which to pursue your right. It is you who is offended. Yeah? If I say that Annie is a corrupt person, clearly that speaks to your reputation.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So if Annie feels that she is not corrupt and that I have damaged her reputation, the government has got no business coming to assist you to clear your reputation. Yeah. You need to go to the civil courts
because there are
sue me there.
provisions.
Yeah, so that we go and prove it there whether you really have a reputation that is worth speaking about or you don't have it.
Yeah.
But the moment systems put it that if I say anything that you feel is offensive to you or to your reputation, and then the police take it over, then we would be going overboard in terms of the proportionality of what is being applied to regulate that kind of. And that now brings me to the current law that we have, which regulates the use of technology, the Computer Misuse Cyber Crimes Act. It has good provisions, which when it was enacted in 2018, 2019, for a while it couldn't be operationalized because the court suspended its provisions. But we see, since the High Court made the judgment that threw out the petition, you have seen how increasingly it has been used to now clamp down on every dissenting voice, so that you tweet something and suddenly you are arrested for publishing false information using a computer device, misuse of a computer device to publish false information and all that. And it is one of the laws that is currently being used to clamp down on freedom of expression and freedom of the media across the board, both for legacy journalists and new media.
Yeah.
And so then we ask ourselves, that in this context and looking now at the law that we have, it definitely presents a situation of an unfair of unfair limitation.
Right.
Because if everybody who is going, and you see, if you look at the trend of cases that have been prosecuted, that have been taken to court, one thing that is a common thread is that, one, the person who published targeted a political operative. The political operative was offended by the tweet. That political operative has got access to the law enforcement, and so uses the law enforcement to try to clamp down on that kind of communication. And so that then puts us in a position where we ask ourselves, does this law then comply with the criteria for limitation that we talked about?
Yes.
So in summary, what I would say is that the situation in which we are with technology and the law, especially, is that, well, technology is here. It has to advance. It has to be used. Where there is a feeling that technology is being abused, especially around the use of AI, which is a very good tool. I mean, nowadays research is easy. Nowadays I can produce an article, very easily, because of the AI tools that are available. But where there are cases that the society generally feels that there are abuse, we must go back to those criteria that we talked about.
Yeah.
And what is of interest also is that our constitution, expressly provides that if you are going to apply any provision that limits a fundamental freedom, and more so in freedom of expression, then that limitation must be interpreted narrowly.
Yeah.
You cannot go and interpret it broadly. So, and so, for instance, if it is something that can be resolved through civil action, go to the civil courts. You don't have, there is no business police coming to your doorstep merely because you posted somewhere that, somebody stole money from the coffers of the... If they feel that they didn't steal and it's destroying their reputation, let them go and sue you. The courts are going to award them them damages.
Yeah.
But also, probably we would need to speak about this. The award of damages in defamation cases, because
What
again,
are they? Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
What are the implications thereof?
Yeah, the implications are here. Are these, over time, the defamation cases, has is increasingly, and because of let me begin it from this.
Yeah.
Some time back, the High Court did strike out the offense of criminal defamation under the penal code, and so that then left the space for civil defamation to be the only channel for which you can seek redress if you feel that somebody has said something that offends you, whether it's published by a media house, whether published by a blogger, whether published, or even if Emma went and shouted on the streets that that person's is a person who is whose reputation is not worth anything. You need to go to the civil courts and sue for defamation. But now, over time, and probably this, a message now to our judiciary, is that the damages that damages is the compensation that you are awarded for injury on your reputation. So if the court finds that, okay, whatever that person said was false, and because of what he said, it has, impacted your reputation, and so, the people who you are doing business with no longer trust you because of that reputational damage. Yeah, so the court awards you, a sum of money to compensate you for that injury of reputation as a means of redress.
Right.
Now, over time, what we have witnessed is a trend where the amounts that are awarded by the courts are so exorbitant that they either bankrupt you or they leave you, poor for life. If you are a media house and the court finds that you have you are liable for defamation, they have awarded millions. And by the time you are
done with the payment of these, damages.
Completely broken.
Literally, you'll have sold the studio and the building and everything.
And kidneys.
Yeah.
At Medihill.
Yeah. And
I might get into trouble. But just hold that thought.
Yes.
Let's take a quick breather, and then we'll come back and talk a bit more in depth on those issues. Yeah.
Okay. Very
Yes, but before we go on a break, let me just take some of your comments here. Maticha Laban, hello, sir. How are you? He's Sorry about that. He is tuning in. He's saying, the conversation is insightful. And he says, go Team MLA. Alrighty. Thank you for tuning in this morning and choosing the Power Morning Drive show. Yes, we are in the midst and the bones of discussing media law in Kenya. What are some of the gains? What are some of the gaps? Some of the malpractices that we are seeing. We talk about issues of censorship. Are they unprecedented? That is a conversation that we will definitely pick up, but let me take a quick breather. We come back and we get back into that conversation. Keep it Power Radio.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
Barua toka Jaramogi na Kenyatta, wanauliza kama Kenya kuko sawa. Nikawajibu Kenya tuko na disaster, watoto wetu wanazidi kuzikana. Na Tomboya ameshika tama, alituacha kama angali kijana. Je, angekuwa mambo yangekuwa sawa? Ndivyo walivyopanga Maulana. Deni mulizoacha bado tunalipa, na tumekopa zingine China. Tukajenga reli pia barabara, zilizobaki watu wakasanya. So tujiangalie, tuko pabaya leo kuliko jana. Sikio la kufa halisikii dawa, tuko kwa Twitter tunajibizana. Tujiangalie bade, tuko pabaya leo kuliko jana. Tusipoziba ufa tutajenga kuta, tusake zetu tungali vijana. Waumini kwa matrina, pasi kwa bima, kushoto fungu la 10 sadaka kulia. Ndio maana mbele ya kanisa mheshimiwa anakula sakramenti kabla ya raia. Siku za mwisho zimeshawadia, na revelation inatuambia hii generation inachoma picha. Ni generation yetu, so tujiangalie. Tuko pabaya leo kuliko jana, sikio la kufa halisikii dawa. Tuko kwa Twitter tunajibizana. Tujiangalie, tuko pabaya leo kuliko jana. Tusipoziba ufa tutajenga kuta, tusake zetu tungali vijana. Mishuki alisema tufungeni mikanda, ona leo twavuna tulichopanda. Kura zetu zilitugawanya, makabila na pesa pia tulimanga. So when you make your bed, usingizi gani tumelala? Tutajua tujui, Vision 2030 tabaki ni story. Tujiangalie, tuko pabaya leo kuliko jana. Sikio la kufa halisikii dawa, tuko kwa Twitter tunajibizana. Tujiangalie, tuko pabaya leo kuliko jana. Tusipoziba ufa tutajenga kuta, tusake zetu tungali vijana.
Dosi aliniambianga freedom never comes for free. We vote tribe ama real cash, ask Boni. Tuna Roma lia mwezi tajesu plus dogi. Wal mzima Twitter keotindo fast body. Ban pictures in Africa, black coffee and none. I'm richer than my neighbor but we're both in a slum. If the rich always win, why should the popular run? Unless democracy ni what's you say my only for fun. Na hii weekend tuko church tunauza sura kabisa. Post ya haga wenda poa sana na caption ya scripture. Kayo ndo gospel pitisha bagi ya sadaka kwa club, yeah. Traffic madragu baindai, traffic mandai zina drag. Kwa maya mwizi amemeki stories za shamba amegrab. Kono inahonga imevaa bracelet ya colors za flag, yeah.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
All right, welcome back. That is Tujiangalie by Sauti Soul and featuring Nyashinsky. And it's playing right here on Power Radio. This is the Power Morning Drive Show. And we are in the meats and the meats and the bones of our discussion this morning. We are joined by President of the Media Lawyers Association of Kenya, alongside Ibrahim Oduor, alongside the program's lead at the association, Miss Emma Oginga. And before we went on a break, we were just getting to chat about, freedom of expression as pertains the season and the current situation that we are in. But there's something quick that you wanted to respond to before we get into that discussion.
Yeah. So I wanted to give a comment on Ibrahim's remarks on defamation suits. So in the wake of the repeal or the removal of defamation as a crime under the Penal Code, and it being transferred to being a civil suit, I can say that a lot of defamation cases have arisen. And we have what we call SLAPs, strategic litigation against public participation. These ones are targeted against media personalities.
And indeed, they are slaps.
Yeah,
quite
it slaps
literally.
you.
Yeah.
So for slap suits is one of the challenges that the media profession is facing currently. And it's something that's happening a lot. It's not only happening against the government, it's also happening against elite organizations. Currently, there is a case that was instituted by Safaricom against Robert Kitui. It's one of the cases that MLA is interested in joining as an interested parties. And in that particular case, you find that this is someone that was genuinely seeking accountability when it comes to these multi-billion corporations and their actions and how it affects the common mwananchi. And it turned into a suit against yule mwenye anatetea wanyonge.
Okay.
So you coming to advocate for the common mwananchi and ensuring that the laws are not only respected by the citizens, but also other actors. And it turns into a suit against you. And once it goes into court, now the challenge with SLAPs is that litigation is a very long process. It takes money, it takes resources, and it takes time. So once you are in that sphere and you are on the limelight for trying to speak on issues such as SLAPs, by the time that suit is ending, a lot will have been taken from you. Not only the money that you will pay in damages, but also your confidence. It also leads to things like self-censorship because as a journalist or as a person working as a media professional, when such a thing hits you, it's very likely going to impact you negatively. It's very likely going to make you go back into your cahoots, cover yourself, and say, forget about it. Why am I fighting for people if I'm the one that is going to suffer in the long run? Also, something that I noticed, as we talk about the regulations in Kenya, I have come to realize that as we advocate for media professionals, they do not know the laws that protect them. There is a need for awareness across all platforms, starting from the journalists that are at the grassroots level to those that, let's say, are operating in the urban centers, so that they can know that the law has their back. And when they are faced by slaps, when they are faced by defamation suits, there is somewhere they can anchor. That is what MLA does. There is somewhere they can go for refuge.
Right, Mr. Ibrahim, let's touch a little bit on the freedom of expression as it pertains to the work that you do at the association, but also just even beyond the work that you do at the association. where are we in terms of freedom of expression? And I suspect we are not doing so well.
Yeah, we are not doing so well.
Yeah.
There is normally annual publication of rating.
Yeah.
In terms of how we rate internationally.
Yeah.
Recently, I think we plummeted to below number 160 freedom of expression index
in the world.
Yeah. And you know
it's doing badly.
It really speaks to what has been happening, to us as a country. You know what has caused us to plunge so deep. Mostly is one, the revival of the laws that directly target journalists and people who are freely publishing their thoughts and whistleblowers and human rights defenders. But more importantly, the use by law enforcement of these laws to target journalists. And also there has been increase in physical attacks against against journalists. You will remember that just around 2022, around the election time,
we
had a foreign journalist being gunned down here in Kenya. And now in the wake of the protests of last year, and then now we had we had this situation of journalists being targeted. You will recall the abduction of veteran journalist Macharia Gaido.
Yes, which was later we were told that it was a confusion of mistaken persons. What do you call it?
A mistaken identity.
Mistaken identity.
Which made it to even look even worse. Because why would you target? Because they say they were looking for the other Gaido. I believe Francis Gaido.
Oh my days. Then soon after there was the Butere girl saga as well. That's also curtailing and censorship.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And one thing that our government needs to know, if I was to give an unsolicited advice, is that the more you try to suppress the people, the more you look bad. We are gone past the days where government controlled information exclusively.
Right.
So our government needs to wake up to the new realities. If I was a government advisor today, what I would advise the government is that the best way to counter what you perceive as negative propaganda by the government is to communicate to people the truth in a more effective manner. But also, just to digress, the problem is that you cannot communicate what you do not have. Right. You can only lie for so. You can only lie for so long
until it falls off.
Exactly. And you see the problem with our government is that it wants to have the monopoly of telling lies. That they can tell what is inaccurate, and if it is countered, then
we're gonna have a problem.
You're gonna have it can't work. In the current society, we are in the information age.
Right.
We are in the information age where you must accept that information will have to be two-way, and it's a beautiful thing for our country. That we should be at that. At that stage, because then if you have got a democratic setup where people are able to, candidly speak to their leaders,
right,
where people are able to candidly, receive information and express themselves,
and even hold government accountable.
Then if even the regime, it helps the regime to even check on those people who are, doing petty corruption at the lower at the lower level. So generally then, in terms of our state of freedom of expression is that we are regressing. We have got a beautiful constitution that entrenches that freedom of expression. We have got a very beautiful judicial framework, for protection of freedom of expression. But the executive clamped down on freedom of expression, especially by use of law enforcement, is taking us back. The willingness of parliamentarians to participate, to condone, to fail to check the executive when it is clamping down on freedom of expression is taking us back. And, those people who are pro democracy and pro good governance within the legislature need to take up this more and more and more and, put the government the government in check. And coming to our judiciary also, their action, I must say that, from the court side, we've had a mix. Sometimes, the courts have issued very good judgments and rulings. Like just recently, the courts were able to hold in a case that we did on behalf of Kenya Union of Journalists, that the duty of setting up the programming code for broadcast journalists belong to the Media Council, Media Council of Kenya, which is set up under Article 34.5 of the Constitution, rather than the more controlled communication authority, which is under, basically under the ministry's control. Those have been, some good judgments. The rulings that have struck down, certain sections of the law that have been, deemed unconstitutional. But also within that mix, there have been, certain decisions that, put us in a bad situation in terms of freedom of expression. You see, like court orders, that gag the media, more especially pre-publication gagging, and pre-publication gagging happens in the context where you are working on a piece of a story. Before you publish it, somebody has gotten wind. I'll give you an example because this one has been there. The case against the case that was filed by the Child Welfare Society of Kenya some time back to stop the nation from airing, just after they had released the trailer of the investigating piece that they were going to publish. And then what happens is that then, the matter goes to court and the magistrate issues a gag order against airing of that story before it is even aired. And this goes against international principles on limitation of freedom of expression, that you cannot uphold freedom of expression where you are issuing orders to prevent people from speaking what they have in their mind. I mean, basically, it puts you in the position of it's like you are now some spiritual being that knows what is going to be said and how it is going to affect, in a layman terms, that's how I can put it. And that person is, and you see, it goes to the root of affecting the autonomy and individuality of the human being that, is coming up with this information, and it stifles creativity, within the space. So the principle is, if you are going to make any findings against a free speech, let that person speak, and then let them face the consequences of what they have spoken about in accordance with the law. Now, I also have to talk about it now in context of technology, where we, amidst this call for regulation of social media.
Crazy. Is that even possible?
How do you want to do it?
How?
There is a way in which, the European countries have done it. They have, there is a law which they have, which is called the Digital Services Act. So what this law does is that it imposes responsibility on the owners of the platform to be accountable. Remember, it does not put the government in charge of regulating what happens there. What it does is that it imposes very strict accountability measures on the owners of the platform. That one, if you have got a platform that has got over, I don't know if it is 5 billion or 10 billion users, then one, you must register with the authorities that you are a large platform. And as a large platform, then there are certain items, which would be considered abuse, which you are required to check again, That way, then, the owners of the platform have got the responsibility to put up community standards that are acceptable, that are democratic, and more importantly, within those community standards, have got dispute resolution mechanisms. Okay, so that if somebody is aggrieved by what has been posted, say, in a platform, then that person, using the dispute resolution mechanism that is provided for in that platform, is able to escalate their grievance, and then it is resolved. Right. It's not only then after that they can, escalate it to the mainstream dispute resolution systems. This is as opposed to the kind of situation where, we are having, where, people want to regulate up to and including, WhatsApp groups that, for you to form. I don't know, you recall that, bill? It was years, 1 or 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Where somebody wanted to regulate, for you to form a WhatsApp group, then you must. It's crazy.
It's not possible. It doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, it's crazy. So there is a way to do it, in a manner that does not limit the
infringe on our rights. Yeah.
And the best way to do it is to impose platform accountability on the people who own these platforms. So that I know that if I am going, for example, as as MLA, we are going to open a social media platform that we are using as we as MLA. Then we are going to say that we know that we have to adhere to these standards, and these standards, we are the ones who are in control, so that there is that internal control within the space, and more importantly, have very effective dispute resolution mechanism. One thing that I've realized, in my interaction, with the laws and around these sectors, is that what probably makes what probably brings a problem is the question of the measures for dispute resolution that are there. One is their effectiveness, and two is the awareness of the people about those dispute resolution mechanisms. So that you might have a very elaborate, dispute resolution. That if you have got this challenge, you have got a complaint. This is how you lodge it. One, is it effective? Is it accessible? Is it something that if I send an email that, hey, look, this post has offended me in this manner. Okay, will it be received immediately? Okay, and if it is received, how does it? What is the next step of action? Is it is there a contact to the person who has posted it? What is their response? How speedily does it move? This then would help in curbing arbitrariness. Okay, now what's important is that you cannot leave it for the government to come in and do this regulation within, because government, by their very own nature, their processes cannot be so swift as to cover such situations.
Right.
So if you put it on the platforms themselves, you have got this very effective dispute resolution mechanism. Then for me, that would be a hack. But if you want to have the police arrest people, and it wouldn't work, because how many people can you arrest who are posting on a virtual platform?
I mean, it's impossible.
It's
madness.
bonkers. It makes you look very backward as a country. And in the context of where the world has moved and the respect that we command, at this stage as a country, as a technology hub, as a beacon of democracy, I think we owe it to ourselves to do much better, and our government, more especially, owes it to its citizens to make sure that they are increasingly allowing the freedom of speech. And this brings me even to looking at how we do it in the legacy media. For a long time, there was the push and pull on how to handle disputes that are arising out of broadcast media and print media. And we looked across the world, which are the best jurisdictions to it. And the emerging principle was that the best jurisdictions in terms of freedom of expression and human development index leave for the media itself to self-regulate, so that they have got standards, they have got dispute resolution bodies. Gladly, nowadays in Kenya, we have got the Media Complaints Commission. If I've got a problem with the publication, the nation is hitting you hard, the star is hitting you hard, the Power 254 bulleting it, it's hitting you too hard. Please, take this person to the Media Complaints Commission. Let your issue be resolved there. It is faster, it is effective, it is more responsive. I mean, don't send people with guns. I mean, these are people who are just using pens.
It's goonism. Let's come to Emma. What are some of the barriers that you are constantly grappling with, even in the practice of media law, specifically even to the organization, to your association, but also generally in Kenya? What are some of the barriers that you have been able to identify, and how is the association creating a solution towards those barriers?
One of the barriers that even through this conversation has been eminent is interference by the state to freedom of expression. In that, the government is too much on our faces, too much into what the people are doing, too much into trying to suppress freedom of expression. And the effect of this, because the state is supreme, like it's the ultimate power in this country.
Unfortunately.
You as the common mwananchi, I as the common mwananchi, the small person, going against the government has a way of just making you coil. It's what we call self-censorship. No one has to tell you, do not publish, do not speak out. But just the fear that comes.
You will be abducted.
Yes. Your life, it's your life on the line. And you're just an individual. And then you come to think, at the end of the day, if I am abducted, I get lost, who will advocate for me? Who will come through to speak on my behalf? Will even people care about it, So one of the threats that we are facing is the state, and we can also see it along the regional lines. East Africa. Uganda is, I think they were the first champions of suppressing freedom of expression. And to the level that they are, I can't even speak about that. We see what's happening in Tanzania. Once the state gets involved in what people speak, and whether it reflects on the political elite in a negative light, then we can just say that we are killing freedom of expression. And as an association, we are trying to build confidence among the media professionals by ensuring that they are not alone. What media law does is strategic litigation, because as much as we have other avenues of dispute resolution and going about all these things, at the end of the day, the majority of the cases will be those ones that land in court, and someone has to be there to ensure that the voices are heard, the other side of the story is also heard. One of the challenges that journalists are facing is they are always the perpetrators. They are never viewed as victims. And even when it reaches that point when clearly a journalist or a media professional is the victim, the cases do not see the light of the day. Because you see, the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions is in charge of prosecuting matters, you know. And if whatever you are bringing before them does not align with what they are working towards, then that case is not going to see the light of the day. Yeah. And this is the problem with having no separation of powers. We have the executive arm of the government, the legislature, and the judiciary in cahoots. Now that's a problem.
Yeah, it complicates the whole process. Yeah.
It goes to the core of affecting human rights defenders' work.
Yeah.
What civil societies and NGOs are doing. Much as we are trying to front freedom of expression, it will not have much of an impact if all the three arms of the government are against you.
Right.
So that's one of the challenges that we are facing at that front.
Yeah.
Another one that we are facing, I think, in the wake of technology, and this is something that is being faced by media professionals at large. In the wake of technology, we have GBV and tech-facilitated GBV. I don't know if you've encountered that.
Yes, I've been seeing a lot of conversations around that.
It's an emerging area of abuse.
Yeah.
And this is something that happens so often. And being that we want to speak out, but the fact that once you speak out, someone might take advantage of that against you. Let me say I post something on social media today.
Right.
Something that does not really sit well with someone else. And with social media, getting private information regarding to any other person is very easy. So while I am trying to express myself, advocating for things that matter to me, and trying to bring accountability to our government, someone somewhere is picking a picture that belongs to me. I saw this circulating at some point. So a lady dressed well, the way you're dressed.
Yeah.
She just posted on her social media platform and then caption and people liked. But the fact that she then went ahead to post something that did not sit well with other people, that picture was used against her. So you see people saying, remove the shirt.
Yay.
And then the shirt is removed. Remove the bra. The bra is removed. And this is a person, you know. This is a person. These are the abuses that if they happen, they make people not want to speak out.
Right.
And imagine if you are a journalist, if you are a whistleblower, and such a thing happens to you, it affects your work, and you'll be like, no, it is not worth it at the end of the day. It is not worth it. Because as a person, I have been violated, and there is no way of holding the other person accountable. So we've been talking about regulation of social media and how we can go about it by ensuring that the different social media platforms, the corporations themselves self-regulate and ensure that what is posted there actually aligns with the principles and standards for freedom of expression and freedom of the media. But, you know, that is still going to be hard. Let's say, for example, X. What does X has to lose if they are banned in Kenya?
Nothing.
Exactly. So it hurts our progress as a country. It hurts the common mwananchi. It hurts freedom of expression. It has nothing to do with the corporation. At the end of the day, they are still going to make profit. At the end of the day, they are still going to have followers. Money, they're still going to generate it. But how can we go about that? How can we go about that?
It's a very interesting question there. But, oh my goodness, we are out of time. I need more time. I need more time on this show. We are out of time, but before we conclude the show, there's a question by my teacher here. He's asking, how does one get accredited by the Media Council of Kenya as a freelance journalist? You can take that. And then what are the requirements and which website do I need to visit to get accredited? Thank you. Yeah. So that's a question by my teacher. Anyone can take that.
Yeah. So the Media Council Act, which establishes the Media Council of Kenya, grants basically grants that council the power to accredit journalists.
Yeah.
Now, what I know is that subsequently, the Media Council has set up a system in their website.
Yes.
There is a portal.
Yes.
Where anyone who wants to apply to be accredited as a journalist then goes to the application is actually online. You submit your documents. There are certain requirement criteria that they have established there. You fill in, you put in your documents. I think that accreditation takes less than 2 months, and you have your you have your accreditation certificate.
Yes.
And then with that, you can visit, you can attend any event and operate as an accredited journalist in the Republic of Kenya. And I know, probably just to expound on that, because normally it's a very interesting area in that the accreditation applies not only to the journalists who are employed by media houses, but even those who are operating, on a freelance basis, who are running their own platforms. So what is important is that you first make that application. If you are operating as a freelance journalist, which means that you are not bound by any editorial, internal editorial code of conduct, or even if you have not trained as a journalist, but you are operating in the media space.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you are running your own, you are running a show within a radio station, and you are not trained as a journalist. You can apply there. Then there is, I think, a course that you do administer, for media ethics and everything to bring you up to speed, and then they accredit you. So it applies across the board. As the last time I checked, it's a seamless process, but it is important for anybody who wants to practice as a journalist. Basically, collect information, do it, more of in a professional sense to get that accreditation. Because it also opens you up to, certain privileges. There are events that, though you may be a content creator and a very good anchor and all that, there are events to which you cannot be admitted unless you have got that accreditation. So it really helps, and I think it's information that your viewers need to have. That it's important that you have that accreditation. If, for example, you want to go and cover international events, those ones, they will not admit you unless you have got that accreditation, because that way then there is that sense of security.
To identify.
They're able to say that, okay, this a person who is accountable.
Legitimized.
Is accountable to a certain institution.
Wow.
Yeah, but that the lack of accreditation by and of itself does not prevent you from publishing your content outside there.
Okay.
We are in a free and democratic society. It's only that there are certain privileges that you cannot access as a freelancer. Just like Annie, you can publish a legal article very nicely written.
Yeah.
But because you do not have
I'm not a lawyer.
Certificate.
Yeah.
You are not certified by the president of the Supreme Court, the Chief Justice, to practice an advocate.
Yeah.
So however much law it can
that's
only
just
be,
as far as it goes.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the exact comparison.
Okay.
Hope that's helpful.
Yeah, that helps. Where do people get in touch with the Media Lawyers Association? How can people get in touch? Because we are out of time. My producer is giving me the side eye.
So if you want to get in touch with Media Lawyers Association of Kenya, you can do it through our website.
Okay.
There are contacts there. If you want to visit us physically, we are located at Delamere Flats.
Okay.
Just opposite Integrity Center.
Okay.
house A33.
Okay.
Yes, we are open during the weekdays.
Okay.
So feel free to get in touch as a media professional for questions or even just any engagement whatsoever.
Awesome. We will put that on the description box below.
Yeah, they also follow us on us.
Aha, yes.
Yeah, we have TikTok,
Okay.
X,
Instagram,
Instagram,
LinkedIn.
Facebook, LinkedIn.
Okay.
Yes.
Just Media Association.
Media
Lawyers.
Law.
Media Law.
Yes.
Okay.
At Media Law.
All right. Thank you so much. As you've seen, we've run out of time. We didn't even get to talk about other issues. So, guys, you have to promise to come back. Will you come back?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Just
This should be like a 5-part series.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I think there is still
Mambo
so
ni
much
very,
to talk about.
Oh yeah.
So just reschedule. We are available.
Sawa,
We
sawa.
can create time.
Okay.
And then just come. And I have to say on my own behalf, it's been a great pleasure.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for hosting us.
Of course.
We don't take it for granted.
We also don't take it for granted for, honoring our invite, guys. Asanteni sana. That has been the president, Mr. Ibrahim Oduor, the president of the Media Lawyers Association of Kenya, alongside the program lead or director at the association, Miss Emma Oginga. And we've been talking about media law in Kenya. What are some of the gains? What are some of the gaps? And how is the association helping us to get to that promised land that we would like to see, where a world where media law is actualized and is, responsible, is responsive, and high stakes of accountability are pursued thereof. So definitely a conversation that we cannot end here. We do look out for the next time they are coming back, because they did say that they will be coming back to discuss this and so much more. Thank you so much to everybody who was able to tune in today. Mr. Maticha, asante sana for the questions. Thank you for the comments as well, and cruising with us all the way till right now. I will let you guys go, but before I do let you go, let me tell you what is coming up today. At 11 a.m., of course, for the girlies, Shiva Sessions show with the one and only Caroline Murote comes in from 11 a.m. all the way till 1 p.m. for all things women. It's a conversation that you do not want to miss out. Then for our hip-hop lovers, our dynamic duo of Elijah Mose alongside DJ CJ Kenya comes in at 4 p.m. all the way till 6 p.m. and they will be telling you what has been happening in the world of hip-hop as well. You also get to interact with new music that is happening in the underground scene of hip-hop, so definitely do catch them then. I will see you on Friday, and you know what? May is Africa Month, and in light of Africa Month, this year's theme from the Africa Union is reparatory justice. How can we ensure that we are talking about reparations? Is it even necessary to have conversations around reparations? And in what ways, in what capacity can we ensure that we are achieving the goal of reparations in the African continent? I will be joined by the program's lead and community lead at Vambo AI, and we shall be looking at how is technology going to help us in that discourse of reparatory justice. So see you on Friday, the 23rd, from 8 a.m. all the way till 10 a.m. But until then, goodbye, God bless. Thank you so much. Keep it Power Radio.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
Kusema kweli bado na kuhata, and on the daily bado na kufata. Kosa sio hoja zaidi ya kukupenda. Vipi nikatupa ndoto tulizoziota. Uliniwasha nare enzi zetu za kupare, wa mvinyo na makale, magizani hadi ngware, nikijifanya dakitare wa mabinti wale wenye shepu za hatari, nikapotelea ndani. Ila mwambie nampenda, roho ya mtamani bado nampenda. Ukimwona mwambie nampenda, roho ya mtamani bado nampenda. Ukimwona kuongeza. Kama ningeweza jua yepi ya kutarajia, nisingejipata mashakani kwa niliyoyatenda. Ninayempenda ni wewe, hakuna mwingine wa kubadili penzi. Ningependa tuelewane, kiburi kisinikosanishe nawe. Uliniwasha pale na sikushika nare, ukanisema kwa jirani kwamba mimi kisirane. Aibu za hadharani, vile penzi hatari, njoo unipe amani kama hapo zamani. Mwambie nampenda, oh yeah, roho ya mtamani bado nampenda. Ukimwona mwambie nampenda, 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 roho ya mtamani bado nampenda. Ukimwona
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.